Who am I? What do I do? What are my intentions? And how do I stand out from this noisy market? So I'll kind of give you a rundown on like where my story began and like what is it that I do and how I got started into this business. So 3 years ago, I got fired from my job, and like if anyone is from an ethnic background, you know how much of a shameful thing that is. You get fired from your job, and I mean, like it happened because like when you're not into what you're doing, obviously your input isn't as quality, and again, like humans, they want to have freedom. Like it's just a base desire. Like, and when you're like trapped into something that you don't want to do, and like having to clock in, clock on every single day, and just being in the trenches and working for someone else's dream. You know the all cliche things like not being fulfilled and all that stuff. So it directly took a toll on my performance, and then yeah, one thing led to another, and then I got asked to leave, right? Which was a pretty shameful thing. My family lost respect for me. My friends like, what the hell are you doing with your life? Completely directionless, right? And I had to start. I had to let's just ask myself like, where do I want to go from this? Like, do I want to get another job? Like, do I want to like truly figure this out? Like, I wanted my own thing. I wanted that freedom, that time freedom, financial freedom, like that. Get that peace of mind that okay, when I wake up, I get to choose what I want to do, and it always was kind of a dream. And like, I had to just ask myself then was okay, what do you want to do? So again, I started off with Amazon delivery driving, getting like £30 for 2 hours, right? Collecting cash from that, just like completely starting from scratch again, saving up money, and then the usual search on Google how to make money online. Then trading comes up, then you buy a trading course, and I done all that, and then practice trading for a couple of months, right? Went into I was doing that while I was doing delivery driving. So like I used to stop over at like baby changing rooms so I can use the supermarket Wi-Fi, and I used to do like market open practicing in baby changing rooms while I was doing the Amazon deliveries. Just take off like 10, 15 minutes between. And then like finally 2, 3 months later, I went into actual trading. But long story short, within a couple of months, I lost like £4,500 around that. And then it's just like for religious reasons, I had to leave that, right? And then I found out it wasn't like Islamically permissible what I was doing anyway. So I had to leave that, and then it became the door to door days, right? Um, that I did door to door, right? Was incredibly bad at that, and then started to progressively get good at it. Like I was some days like third in the country with my closing on the day with door to door. And the reason I was doing door to door was again it gave me the hope of actually doing something on my own, right? And then again, I it just wasn't working out. Like the manager and I just it just things happen. I got asked to leave there as well. It just happens, right? But yeah, this is door to door. Then bought my first 997 marketing course, right? A digital agency course. Um, Again, struggled with that. Just again the lead generation, which like a lot of people struggle with, figured it out. Got pretty successful at that. But in total, like I invested like $30,000 into programs, courses, coaching, etc. That's got me to the point I am at right now. But backtracking again, just to end off a point, when all these things were happening, like the failures with getting kicked out twice, the trading, the door to door, I'm probably missing a lot of things out in between as well. A lot of personal things happening, right? So it really takes a toll on you here. And then when like your mental state is not on point, then a lot of physical things start to happen. Like this is what my face looked like. I'm not sure if you can see. And this was because of the severe anxiety I had. Because like when you're doing trading, like you know, when you lose that money on a 2 o'clock market open, then you have to wait another 24 hours until you can try again. So what happened was like there's a saying that when you get off, when you fall off a horse, get back on it. Otherwise, you'll always have that thing, that fear, right? And I could not get back on a horse again because well, the opportunity for the day is gone. So I have to wait another 24 hours. And because of like how painful it is losing money, like you work all week in an Amazon shift, like make 400 pounds, and then you lose 500 pounds in one market open, and then you're having like that severe fear, right? And over time, it built up to having like me having severe general anxiety disorder, right? And this is not me self proclaimed, like anxiety or whatever, I had to go to a CPT therapist. They did some question answers tests, right? And they said your anxiety was an 18 out of a possible 21. And then like obviously anxiety affects your gut as well. That's something I found out, right? Like I started having to use inhalers, like breathing problems. Like I'll show you another picture. Like there's one. Here are all the medicines I had to take: inhalers, Buscopan for the stomach. Um, like it was very bad. Like I had no hope for the future, because another thing humans do is like they look at their past experiences and then project it onto the future, right? So I had no hope for anything going right for me, and there's one big vision, was that I want to be at a point where I have mental peace, mental clarity, like freedom, like financially, time wise, right? And the biggest thing was because I was fortunate enough to live in a kind of well off area all my life. So I got to meet a lot of rich people, and there's that one thing they always say is that help people who can't help themselves. So the people that I picked was orphans, right? Another thing was that I also look after a mosque, so I do all the Friday prayers um, just the general youth clubs, just to give these kids a good community, and be an example for them. So that's like that. Those were the big why. Like that was driving me forward, right? Because you need that. Because you need that. It's like sometimes your self motivation for freedom and stuff like that isn't enough. So you always need that something outside of you that actually motivates you and keeps you going in those very tough times. But anyway, fast forward after spending a lot of years in the trenches and like like brutally being beat up by life, and like learning like solid lessons, spending like 30,000 in coaching, investing into programs, all that stuff, all the good shebang, right? But with the help of Allah, I'm at a point where um, at the moment, like I'm not sure if you can see, 4,500. That's fifth, or so 25th of May. So that was today. So we're doing about $5,000 days. And I'm not saying that's like every day, but the worst it goes every day is like 1,700, 1,600, stuff like that. But with the help of Allah, we're aiming for seven-figure run rate consistently by the end of the year. So the reason I'm telling you this is the biggest thing I've learned is everything's cause and effect, as in the effect that you want, as in time freedom, financial freedom, the money that you always wanted, is just the one thing away, like one lesson away, right? So whatever results that you are getting is depending on the actions that you're doing, right? So everything is cause and effect. Like I really do believe in this, that whatever results you have is because of the actions that you've done. There's this one thing in Islam, I'm just speaking to everyone at the moment, so you don't have to be a Muslim, but I'm going to refer to Islamic things. So there's one thing in Islam: tie the camel, then rely on Allah, God, right? So do everything you possibly can, then rely on Allah. So I did whatever the hell I could, right? I kept trying with that big North Star, the big vision in mind, the freedom that I wanted, looking after orphans and continuing looking after the mosque. And after that, the cause and effect, what you also have to do is accountability. That you can either be emotional about your situation, like I could have like, I was like a perfect example of like just giving up on life, right? But the good, the thing, the balance of and depression and like not having hope for the future and anxiety, and the depression, like it's like I don't want to do anything, what's the point? But the anxiety keeps you moving because you're like anxious about what if I get left behind. So it was a good like balance of things. But what I'm trying to say is I could have been emotional, like okay, this has happened, I've lost so much money, I lost about like 40,000 total in just this grinding period of figuring things out, right? I could have been emotional, but I chose to actually get results by actually taking accountability. Okay, what can I do in this situation? So yeah, accountability, cause and effect, and using leverage, doing the right effective actions. And in this like time period in 2023 moving forwards, like what you need to understand is you need to have some sort of a digital business, whether it's coaching, whether it's agency business, like any sort of agency coaching business where you can leverage that sort of business model, because that is something that is going to be blowing up in the future, and it'll be a shame if you didn't like take advantage of it, right? So that is why I exist. I exist to give people value, to teach them all the lessons I've learned over losing $40,000, spending like 30,000 in just coaching courses, programs, and then share my like the knowledge that I've gained and my experience in a very simple way. Like we only have like simple 3 steps of getting people results. Number one, we create your offer, like we make a no-brainer offer together, like within 24 hours of us working together, right? Then we place our LinkedIn growth funnel, right? Which kind of makes things automated. So you're growing your LinkedIn connections like a leads list, and you're using an automated software that we give you, which you can't access generally as well on Google because it's just through referrals. And then we also help you place a commission only appointment setter that like you've basically just automated the call booking system. And then lastly, I'm giving you my sales structure, which I've used because I've worked in multiple 7-figure businesses as well, like as a closer. So I have the experience of closing 20K deals, 30K deals multiple times, I promise you. So I know what I'm doing with regards to sales. So we'll give you the sales structure as well. So it's simple 3 things: build your offer, build a solid source of like automation and gives you volume so people can see your offer, the right people can see your offer. And then lastly, when you get them on a call, use my sales structure to close them. So if you've already booked a call, happy days. I would love to answer any of your questions on the call. And if you haven't, check the description below and book in a call. It's a completely no pressure demo call just to see if we're a good fit to work with each other. And hopefully you could resonate a bit with my story. And I would love to get to know your story as well.